Well, hi there, warm welcome. You're watching Blueprint Explosive Exclusive and I'm Meghna Dekha. Well, here's an interesting thing. There's a top trend of boycott Turkey and boycott Azerbaijan. Why, you'd ask? Why is it that Istanbul and Baku, both of them very popular tourist destinations, have now faced boycott by Indian tourists? Well, let me explain it to you here on Blueprint Explosive Exclusive. Well, they say that a friend in need is a friend indeed, which essentially means that the one who helps you in a different time is someone whom you can rely upon. Viewers, when Turkey was hit by a devastating earthquake in 2023 that you can see right there behind me, India sent help. India sent relief material under Operation Dost. Friendship was the cornerstone of India's sentiment. India was the first country which was home to Ankara's assistance, apart from aid, that India sent Garuda aerospace drones to help with rescue operations across in Turkey. You can see the visuals of there. But look what Turkey did to us. You can see that right here on the left-hand side. It has backed India's adversary at a time when we were on the brink of a war. It has expressed solidarity with Pakistan. It has armed it with drones that were used against India. These were the same Turkish drones which were attacking India. They were amongst the 300 to 400 drones that were fired towards India, towards 36 different locations in India. These are the drones which not just snooped upon civilians, also these were kamikaze drones which rained fire and killed civilians in Delhi, in India, I beg your pardon. In fact, Turkey has even endorsed Pakistan's call for a probe into the Pahalgam attack. This is the reason, what many people have pointed out as betrayal. They are saying this is a betrayal of Dosti, it's a betrayal of its dost Bharat, when Turkey, who took aid from India in 2023, today sent these drones to target India. Which is why many travel portals, well, they've started issuing warnings. In fact, some of them have already started taking bookings for Turkey. A movement is on social media that you're going to see, a movement which is going to allegedly boycott Turkey. And you can see this on your screens right now. Kerala BJP chief Rajiv Chandrasekhar, he's also backed the boycott Turkey call as the movement gains more and more momentum on social media. In fact, this is what he has said. I'm going to read it out. He has said, no thank you. And what does he say that to? Well, this is the tweet he put out, saying this is a vast majority of local population as per Turkey. This is Turkey's press release, which he has tweeted out. Press release of Turkey said, in fact, the vast majority of the local population are unaware of the conflict taking place between India and Pakistan and has no effect or bearing on daily life or tourism environment here. Indian travelers are welcome and treated with utmost respect. To which Rajiv Chandrasekhar said, no thank you. Then you have another post which is coming in. This one belongs to Rupa Ganguly, who has said, can we please cancel our bookings for Turkey? This is my request to all the Indian celebrities, influencers and travelers. This is the least that we can do for Indians. Boycott Turkey, hashtag, which of course has been one of the top trends. There are other two people such as Prashant Thakur, who has put out saying, no Indian should visit tourism economy. Boycott Turkey for travel. This comes after Turkey's perceived support for Pakistan, that no one, he says, should visit Turkey for any tourism. Also, you have other people who are coming out and saying that boycott Turkey, Azerbaijan. I totally agree. However, most of the people are posting this from Chinese phones and laptops. We should also boycott China too. And this is very interesting. The China angle also has been coming up, that boycott China as well. This is just some of the posts. Do we have more of them? Yes, we do. On your screen, salute to all of those who are cancelling their book trip to Baku and to Turkey. Nobody should invest in these two countries as an Indian. Jai Hind. These are just some of the voices which are coming in. So this demand is, of course, significant, as over the last few years, there has been a surge in Indian tourists who have been traveling to Turkey. It is good business for them. Hence, the question we should be asking is, are we adding to their revenue? And when we are supporting and going to Turkey as well as Azerbaijan for tourism, are we supporting Pakistan's Air Force and Army modernization efforts as well? In fact, look at some of the numbers that we are going to put out for you on your screens. 3.3 lakh Indian tourists have visited Turkey in the year 2024 itself. This is the magnitude of Indian tourism. In fact, in 2024, there was a jump of 176% in a decade. Within a decade, 176% more Indians went to Turkey than they did earlier. Now, it's not just about Turkey, Azerbaijan, as I was telling you. It's another country which has stood by Pakistan, condemning Operation Sindoor. Azerbaijan has expressed solidarity with the people of Pakistan. So amid the boycott Turkey call, netizens are also saying no to Baku as well. And in fact, you can see some of the stats there on your screens. Take a look at how there has been a spike in the number of Indians who have visited Azerbaijan in the last 10 years. That is 4,900%. Yes, that's right. Let these numbers seep in and sink in. Just from around 5,000 tourists who had gone, it's now gone up to 2.43 lakh tourists in 2024. So is a boycott call definitely going to be a big blow? It does seem so for both Azerbaijan as well as Turkey. So not just tourism, India has trade relations also with both Turkey as well as Azerbaijan. In fact, you have the details there on the screens behind me. India's economic engagement, as you can see, with Turkey has seen substantial growth. Bilateral trade has crossed about $13 billion in 2022-23, while India's trade, as you can see, with Azerbaijan, well, this has increased as well from $50 million in 2005 to $1.4 billion. This is from 2023. So facing the heat, you have Ankara, which has now sent out a message for Indian tourists. Here's what the Department of Tourism in Ankara has to say. In fact, here you have it. It says most of the local people are unaware of the conflict. It then goes on to say this is a conflict which has no bearing on tourism. Tourists welcomed with utmost courtesy is what Ankara has said. No reason to postpone or cancel any trips is the appeal coming in from Turkey. No restrictions or safety issues are there, especially for the Indians who are there. So there you have it. But the question, of course, is can terror, tourism and Turkey all go together? Well, those are some of the questions that we are going to be asking. After all, let's not forget, Turkish drones were used by Pakistan in India. Can this be forgiven? The Songa drones were used by the Turkish firm Guard and was used to target India as well. These are just some of the facts that Indians, especially Indian tourists, have today been waking up to. So let me go across first to one of our guests who's joining us. We have Prashant Pitti, who's joining us, the co-founder of Ease My Trip. Thank you so much, Prashant, for joining us. It's quite interesting because Ease My Trip has taken a bold step. It has decided to suspend bookings to Turkey. Do you think that other sectors in India should also follow suit to show that there is going to be zero tolerance for countries that don't back anti-India agendas, as we have seen that huge wave? First, it was Maldives. Do you think other companies, other sectors too, should follow suit?
Oh, absolutely. Well, firstly, Ease My Trip has a history. Last year as well, when India and Maldives had a standoff, Ease My Trip was the only travel portal which basically boycotted Maldives from its platform. All the flights, hotels, all the flights, hotels, and everything was cancelled. And, after 1 year, when Maldives began Welcome India campaign, and when our honorable external minister Jaishankarji visited over there, after multiple requests from tourism minister from Maldives, we resumed our relationship with them, following the similar suite of being nation first and business later. In the current times when clearly Pakistan is on the wrong side of the history, backing its terrorists very, very openly, even when even during their funeral, the entire Pakistan army can be very visibly seen, especially to the people
Absolutely.
who are UN designated terrorists. So clearly, whoever is siding on the Pakistan is on the right or is on the wrong side of the history. And Turkey and Azerbaijan, as soon as they showed their solidarity and support to Pakistan,
Absolutely.
we decided to
You made a very relevant point, because all of this is coming at a time when India has gone out of its way to ensure that we helped Turkey when they were hit by the earthquake. But Mr. Pitti, given that Turkey's consistent support has been coming in from Pakistan, whether it's at the UN, now Operation Sindoor, which they have been openly criticizing and opposing, do you believe that Indian businesses, especially tourism, should adopt a more nationalistic economic policy as well to try and protect India's interests?
Not just the tourism. We are in the tourism industry, which is why we can only take stance for the tourism, right? There's so many other trades which are happening between India and Turkey for other industries as well. I will not name any specific industries, but there's so many industries where India is trading with Turkey and also Azerbaijan. I request entrepreneurs from those industries to also take the bold step and stand for the country the way Izmatov has done in the past and the way Izmatov is doing right now, because nothing comes above the nation. We cannot, from India, almost 2.5 lakh people travel to Turkey on annual basis. 2.3 lakh people travel to Azerbaijan on annual basis. Even if you take modest 60,000 rupees per passenger being spent in those countries, we are talking about minimum 3,000 crores amount going to their coffers from our side, which is totally in our control. And given the kind of backlash which we are seeing, given the kind of cancellation we are seeing for Turkey and Azerbaijan, I am very, very proud to say that the entire country is standing together in these dark times and ensuring that the country is given the utmost importance than our leisure travel or business travel or even businesses for that matter.
Absolutely. In fact, in light of the Turkish-made drones that we were just discussing right now, that is being used by Pakistan, they are the ones which are raining hell on Indian cities. Do you think that perhaps travel companies such as yours as well, you can help guide Indian tourists towards more neutral, more friendly countries?
We have already done so. We are advocating people to travel to the neutral places like Thailand, to Greece, to Armenia, instead of Azerbaijan and Turkey. And we are requesting people to reconsider where they are spending money. The money which we are giving to them can immediately come back and bite us in the format of these drone attacks or missile attacks and the ammunition which these countries are presenting to Pakistan. And even though there is a ceasefire going on right now, I believe that the countries like Turkey and Azerbaijan will have very difficult time in changing their stance against Pakistan, because it is linked directly to their ideology of religion and also with respect to their armed trades. So unlike Maldives, which was heavily dependent on tourism, they immediately got on the back foot after Izmatov boycotted them. They could clearly see huge impacts on Indians traveling to their country, and since the entire
we've really shown what happens when Indians together in unity take a decision, for example, to boycott Maldives. We saw immediate reaction of that. Maldives president, their topmost leadership, all of them came out and said that we are friends of India. That's the power of One India. Thank you so much, Prashant, for joining us here on the show. Let me also go across to Dr. Megha Sharma, who's joining us. She's the founder and MD of Travel Crafters as well as Aapka Visa. So thank you so much, Megha, for joining us. It's very interesting. Do you think it's important that India, as tourists, can actually use that as a soft global and diplomatic power?
See, we have been sharing a great relationship with Azerbaijan and Turkey, not only in terms of diplomatic relationships, but yes, it has been a very favorite destination for our travelers when they're going for tourism, and even the Bollywood, the influencers, you'll see all of them. But unfortunately, what has happened right now during Operation Sindoor is very unforeseen. It was not expected considering the relationships that we have. Travel is an emotion. It reflects who we are. And as of now, we are recommending that we should put a little pause as of now to the travel to Azerbaijan and Turkey. In fact, travelers themselves are right now saying, like yesterday we had a cancellation for Turkey. They were traveling in June. They said, ma'am, I cannot sip a Turkish coffee or tea while I know that they were supporting the cause where the terrorists were killing our civilians. So, it's something that has got to do with the emotions as well.
It's seen as a betrayal, you'd say, Megha, because as I was pointing out earlier, India has been Turkey's all-weather friend in the past. It's quite surprising because when Turkey was hit with that devastating earthquake in 2023, the first ones to send relief, we are going to put out those visuals of India sending relief to Turkey. You had all these viral videos which are doing the rounds of the Turkish people thanking our NDRF forces, thanking Indian forces who were there distributing relief material. But now, on the other hand, for those Turkey, at least those India ne mana, but for Turkey, it is those Pakistan that they are helping at a time like this. Is there that deep-seated feeling of betrayal, not just supporting Pakistan, but betrayal of India?
Betrayal. Indeed, it's a great betrayal. They shouldn't have supported. When we travel overseas, our travelers, we are contributing to their economy.
Absolutely.
And what we are contributing to their economy, they're ultimately using that for their weapons. And that particular money is going to Pakistan to support, and especially when it wasn't a war between the two countries. It was a war against the terrorists. It was a war to fight against those people who want to separate us based on their religion. If you see, somehow within India also, post the terrorist attack, people started, even the travel agents also started boycotting Kashmir, though we did not, because we understand that they want to divide us between Hindus and Muslims. Unfortunately, we have to understand that Kashmir is our countrymen. We all should support Kashmiris instead.
Of course, big difference there. You cannot even compare the two. But then really appreciated Dr. Megha Sharma for joining us here on the show. As you just heard from two people who are trailblazers when it comes to the travel and tourism sector, coming out and say that we can use tourism as a soft power. And India, if we unite, we've seen what has happened in Maldives, we can do the same to those who have not supported us internationally, diplomatically, at a time when India was on the brink of a war. Is Turkey, Azerbaijan and China. These are the three countries which is why today facing a boycott top trend in India. Thank you so much for joining us. Without a short break, we'll return in 2 minutes.